Hello, everyone. We're just going to wait 5 minutes and to let everybody in, and we'll start the info session. All right, we're going to start. First, thank you, everyone, for attending this session. Let me, before I get started, just to do a bit planning for today's session. I'm going to be delivering and giving you all the information about the ESG certification. And we're going to keep the last part for question answer. Please make sure you mute yourself. And towards the end of the presentation, we'll answer all your relevant questions. I have my colleague with me, so just type your message and we'll be answering any relevant questions that you have. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fari Ghani. I'm a certified public accountant, but I've been involved in professional qualification for the last 30 years. I'm an instructor on various qualifications. I've taught across the world. I teach in the Middle East, India, Europe, and the USA and Canada as well. So I have a quite long experience dealing with professional qualification. And I sit on many of those, on the board of many of those associations as well, from a consulting side, looking after the international business for them. So I have quite experience. I've been doing it for a long time. I hope you will benefit from my presentation today. So as a start, I'd like to start with introducing you to who we are, the agenda for today, which is a bit about who we are. Then we're going to talk about why the ESG, what's the scope about it, why we're hearing it a lot in today's market. We talk a bit about the career outlook, what are the requirements. We talk about the exam, how you prepare for it, and what are the various solutions. And we'll give you a few tips if you're planning to sit for the exam in the very near future. And then we'll answer all your questions. So the course is going to be offered through Morgan, which is a partner of Schweser. We've been in the market for 30 years. So we don't create any content. We work with our strategic content developers. We have around 350 instructors in the region, 28 years in the market, and we have 28 locations, more than 150,000 candidates, and more than 500 organizations we work with. So we deal with professional qualification, workshops, soft skills, continuing professional educations, and tailor-made programs for corporates. This is a sample of the certification we offer. Today, I'm going to only be talking about the ESG, but we deliver CPA, CMA, CFA. We're divided between accounting, finance, human resources, supply chain, and digital marketing certification. Today's presentation is going to be strictly about the ESG. I believe most of you are here for this qualification. And throughout the years, we work with multinationals. This is only a sample where we work with the Big Four, with we delivered to Adia, Due, Mubadala. So we're all over the place. So we have a long track history of helping candidates pass professional qualifications. So let's start talking about the ESG. This is what you really are all here. You want to know about it. So the whole discussion about ESG, the seriousness, I would say, if I want to give you a bit of history, started around 2006. It was under UN resolution, and we started talking about the environment, the corporate social responsibility. It was discussions, corporates were working about it, talking about it, but it was never formal in terms of a certification. And there are various certifications. Today, I'll be focusing ESG in the finance world. There is in risk management, there's across all industries. But today's discussion about ESG that is offered by the CFA Institute. So it was started as a good idea for corporates to be good citizens, and it turned into a tangible reality, which is now a lot of the banking sector or the finance sector, they have to abide by certain rules and regulation, I would say. That's one aspect. The other aspect is that there's governance now around it, and some of the institutes will get funding or breaks if they meet certain criteria. So now you can be audited if you're meeting the ESG requirements or not. So the whole idea is how to integrate environmental, social, and governance factors in investment decisions. And these are skills. It's becoming a vital skill in today's, and it is a whole career now. You can specialize in this area. So what is it in reality? It means environmental, social, and governance. When organizations want to make decisions or investments, they have to take into consideration environmental, social, and governance factors to ensure access to sustainable growth or investments. It is applied on corporates, and it's applied on countries as well. So even countries, they have ranking, and corporates now have ranking. These are the three main pillars: the environment, the social, and governance. I'll give you a few examples. And now it is becoming more of a global and expanding to talk about climate change, human rights, and adherence to laws. So even when we make investments now, we need to make investments in a structure where it doesn't impact climate change. The organization we're investing in respect human rights. So it has several factors. So it measures how the business integrates with environmental, social, and governance practices into operations, and how it impacts sustainability. This is really, in simple words, what is ESG stands for. So being a good citizen and doing the right thing and investing in the right thing. And you have a criteria and you have set of skills to do that. So when we talk, and this is only going over explaining what is ESG, and these are examples. They're not the only criteria, but I wanted just to facilitate the discussion when we talk about the certification, is to give you some idea what we mean by social or governance or environmental. So when we're talking about environmental, we're talking about how you develop good products, greener products, how you eliminate wastage, how you encourage recycling, and how you reduce the consumption of energy. There's a lot more about environmental, but I'm just here giving you a few examples. When we go into social, we're talking producing safe products, promoting equality among the workforce. You support health and safety among your employees. You invest in local community, you give back. We talk about fair pay and living wages, so equal fair pay and adhering to labor laws. These are the things that when you say social, you look at. When it comes to governance, is what we know about it. It is about accurate reporting. You prevent bribery. You act honestly and accountable. You have diversity in the leadership. Being transparent about the pay scale of the executives. You manage risk properly, and you are compliant with the local laws and the labor laws and all the legal requirements. So going back in the history again, we heard a lot about governance, and we heard a lot about corporate social responsibility. Now, all of this is combined into one platform, and it's called ESG, where you have certification. It addresses governance, it addresses social and environmental, how you put them into operation to ensure sustainable business. So even smaller companies now are embracing ESG. So when we hear about all of this, we always think these are the multinationals, like the Apples, the Google. But in reality, the banking sector is big on it. In the Middle East, there's heavily demand on it now. Even in Lebanon, a small country now, it's very active. And some of the banks who are following ESG, they're getting some grants from the US. So why are companies adopting this? Is they want to be a good citizen. It helps even small companies. The reputation, it builds the reputation of the company. It reduces costs. So when you're using green energy, you're eliminating wastage. You have good corporate governance within the company. So you have less risk for exposure. All of this is reduction of cost. It attracts employees. They use it for, you attract employees. You can secure investments because now investors or your customers are, they're becoming more and more aware about these things. And usually they like corporates that are ESG compliant. And of course, it attracts customers because now even customers, when you are a supplier to a large corporate, there's code of ethics and there are certain things that you need to meet. So the market is becoming more complex. Transaction between companies is becoming more complex, and we see and more demand when it comes to this part, to this section ESG. For example, I'll just give you a quick example, Apple. So their suppliers of Apple, they have to abide by certain ESG requirements. Any supplier of components to Apple, when they make the iPhone, there are requirements. And Apple does audit their suppliers. So they have to have equal pay, they have to have diversity, they have a set of rules. This is all falls under the ESG. Now, if we look at the origins, the ESG investing has grown significantly. And now they're creating indicators to rank companies, ranks markets according to principle of responsible investment initials. So like the stock market, like where you have the value of the stock is going up and down, now a lot of those ranking companies, they do have ranking for corporates, and it's the trend started, it's gonna continue. And if you look at the graph here, it shows you the growth of ESG. So they're broken down under assets under management that are following ESG, asset owners as well under ESG, the number of assets owners. So there are various criteria. The whole objective of this is that now there's around $140 trillion of business corporates conducting that are following the ESG model and the standards. So you see it is expanding drastically. If you look at, I stopped at 2021, I didn't update it for 22 or 23, but if we look at 2022 and 2023, even the slope is even steeper, where there's more and more growth. So, and it started, like I've mentioned, in 2006 through a UN meeting, and the title was "Who Cares Wins." So the recommendation, yes. So what I'm trying to say, it falls into various sectors. So we say better investment markets. So if the countries are ESG compliant, if the firms are ESG compliant, we have more sustainable societies and we have more sustainable business. So if we want to dissect all this into smaller segments, we're talking about companies that are leading the way to implement ESG. We're looking at analysts and brokers now. They're getting into this. We're looking at investors and asset managers. When they invest in a group of assets, they want to make sure they are rewarded, and there's a research about those assets, whether they are ESG compliant or not. We're looking at pension trustees. We're looking at regulators, stock exchange and governments as well, implementing reporting standards in respect to ESG. NGOs now have to follow that to secure more funding. Consultants as well. Now, part of a big consulting jobs now is to go and audit and produce ESG reports based on the corporates who are following those standards. And of course, accountants is becoming part of the accounting profession as well. They need to report back on ESG. So it's really growing, and it's really becoming a trend, and it's not going to stop. You probably have touched it somehow. If you heard 2 years ago, everybody was talking about diversity and inclusion. In the US, it was a big move about diversity and inclusion. Really, it is an HR thing, but it falls really under ESG. So part of the governance is to have equal pay, is to have diversity, is to have transparency, equal treatment. So they're all of those things we used to hear about them. They're falling under one platform, which is the ESG certification. In the ESG certification, you have in the finance, you have in the accounting, you have in risk management, you have in various industries. Today's, the more advanced now we're talking about is investments in ESG. So this is, so what is the ESG certification in investing, which is offered by the CFA Institute? So the CFA Institute, which is Chartered Financial Analyst Institute, is the global standard when it comes to certification related to the finance field. You all probably heard about the CFA. It's a global, more than 200,000 students sitting for the exam, one global qualification. The CFA Institute now have an oversight over the ESG certification. So the certification will come out from the CFA Institute. It is the body who is overseeing this certification. It started off with them in the UK, and it went global. So why ESG is worth it for you as a career? This is very important question. What we will do, how are you going to benefit from that with those set skills of expertise? One is that it's a trend, it's moving forward, and it's growing. So by the certification will give you the expertise in sustainable investing. So you have a comprehensive knowledge and skills when it comes to environmental, social, and governance factors, which is becoming very critical in the investment landscape. This is the advantage, one of the advantages. You are market relevant as well, so you stay relevant to the market and the trends. So the certificate as well will ensure you stay current with industry trends, and it positions you as a professional with deep understanding of sustainable investing. So even if you have your CFA or other qualification in the finance area, you really need to have a knowledge about ESG. And many of the other qualifications now, they are introducing ESG topics within their professional qualification. If we look at GARP, which is Financial Risk Management, part of it now addresses ESG. The accounting certifications as well are addressing ESG. So having that set of skills will make you relevant to today's requirements in the finance area. Demands, you meet the demands of investors. So more and more now, investors, they only look for opportunities where they prioritize the sustainable and responsible investments. So it's not anymore, and it all started with Enron, in fact, the way things happened. So now investors, they want to make sure that wherever they want to put their money, the priority is where that firm is following responsible investments. So it demonstrates your ability to meet these demands and to contribute to the ethical and socially responsible investment decisions. It's skill set. Global recognition, so the ESG is globally recognized. The exam is computer-based, so it's not related to the US or Middle East. Dubai is big on it. Saudi Arabia is big on it as well. So it's a global certification. Of course, it helps you with your career advancement, whether you are in the finance or the accounting or even non-accounting and finance. It will build that expertise and skill set. It makes you more marketable, and it can open a career path to advance with the opportunities in the field of sustainable finance. And finally, you align with the corporate values. Now, this is something very strategic for corporates, and having that set of skills when you're going through the interview, you're really aligning with the corporate values related to corporate social responsibility, ethical business practices, and sustainable, and all falls under the sustainable investments. So it really opened doors for you. It will help you grow, and it will teach you a set of skills that is really needed in today's market. So what are the career path and job opportunities? Let's start talking about the career path and job opportunities within the ESG. So there are titles now. There's new titles related to ESG in the multinational companies. So you can be an ESG analyst or researcher. You can be sustainable investment advisor or corporate sustainability manager. These are all titles now existing. ESG consultant or portfolio manager, but your expertise is in sustainable investments. Or you can be an ESG compliance officer or ESG reporting specialist, because there are reports. The way we produce accounting reports on the financial statements of the organization, they are now reporting on the organizations regarding ESG reporting, and you can become an ESG auditor. So now the Big Four, this is a new line segment where they audit not based on the fairness on financial statements only, but whether they are compliant with the ESG practices. So these are top of the career path. Job roles, you can be in risk management, corporate governance, supply chain management. Supply chain management is big on corporate governance, on ESG. Marketing and communication. Now, you need to present your corporates follows certain ethical standards. Product development, manufacturing, legal and compliance, real estate now. You invest in portfolio of real estate. You want to invest in places where, like I mentioned, it meets those three criteria. Data analysis, you can do data analysis on ESG and performance, and investor relations. So all of those are different roles you can hold with the ESG certification. So in summary, if I want to say what it will give you, it's very simple. The program itself, it will equip you with tools to be able to assess companies' environment, social, and governance performance. You learn how to assess the performance of corporates when it comes to ESG. It helps you make informed decisions that will generate financial returns and has a good social impact as well. It gives you as well the tools and the skills to be able to identify ESG risks and opportunities, because there are ESG risks now, and it helps you be a consultant to help companies integrate ESG consideration into the investment strategies. This is really the tools and the skills you will gain and what you'll be able to do. Who is it for? Mainly if you are in the investment world, seeking to enhance knowledge in sustainable finance. So if you are treasurer or you're in fixed income or portfolio manager, so anything regarding the finance world, investments, it gives you the tools to be able to identify opportunities in sustainable finance. Financial advisors, they are very much interested in this as well. Corporate executives now have to have a knowledge about this. If you're a CEO of a multinational, you really need to address it internally within the organization. So corporate executives and sustainability officers able to understand investor expectation, it is for you. Students, even fresh students graduating in the careers in finance, they can move in that direction. And anybody who is not in the finance world, but who is passionate about responsible investing and making a positive impact, that will be the right certification for you. So there's no eligibility or experience requirement. It's just set of skills you're tested on. If you gain those set of skills, then you can have that title. So what you will learn in the program, very simple. You learn different approaches to responsible investments and the considerations divided between environmental, governance, and social. You learn the issues and the factors of each line segment. You will have an understanding of the broader sustainability context and global initiatives. So it's not only restricted to one country, but you learn it on a global basis and the trends and how things are moving. And you'll be able to assess the relevance, size, scope, key drivers and challenges and risks and opportunities in ESG. These are what you learn throughout the course. And this is what the exam actually covers. You learn about environmental factors, relationships, material impacts, and mega trends and approaches to environmental analysis at the country level and at the company level. So you learn on both sides. You learn governance factors as well and characteristics and their impact. So you learn about environmental and their impact, governance and their impact, and of course, social and their impact. You learn about engagement and stewardship when it comes to this. How to do analysis, valuation, and integration of ESG, and how to be able to analyze the different factors and the company performance and do the reporting and security valuation across a range of asset of classes. So this is something you learn throughout the course, and how you create or construct a portfolio and manage it following ESG and integrate the ESG into it. And of course, you will be able to apply various approaches in terms of reporting and integration of various assets of classes within the investment world. And finally, portfolio analytics and client reporting. This is what you really what the exam objective is, and this is what you really learn throughout the course. So the exam itself, you want to look at the weights. They're divided into several segments. So the topics the exam will cover is overview to ESG and ESG market. You have a general overview and what's the trends in the market. It's between 8 to 15% weight on it. Environmental factors, you go into more details between 8 and 15. Social factors and governance factors. So each one, the weight is between 8 and 15. And then you have between 5 and 10 on engagement and stewardship, how you get engaged in ESG. Then ESG analysis, valuation, integration. This is the heavy part, which is between 20 and 30%. Once you understand the basics, Now you go into how you want to evaluate, how you analyze, and how you integrate. This is a big section of the exam. And then ESG integrated portfolio construction and management between 10 and 20%. And the investment mandates, portfolio analytics, and client reporting between 5 and 10%. So this is the weight on the actual exam, topics and the weight. And the course will cover each aspect of them. So the exam itself, the exam is 2 hours and 20 minutes. In reality, the exam is only 2 hours. You have 20 minutes to open the exam and sign on confidentiality. So 20 minutes will be more of administration to get you into the exam. They authenticate your ID. They verify you're the person who registered for the exam. And then you have to sign on few papers, and then you open the exam. So it's a 2 hours exam. It's a computer-based, made of 100 multiple choice questions. So there's no pen and paper. It's a computer-based, and there's no passing score. Like, they don't tell you you scored 70 or 50. So it is you pass or you don't pass. And the passing rate usually is set by the CFA Institute. So it depends on the level of the difficulty of the exam and what type of questions you had. They will set the scale of those students who will pass and those students who will not pass. So it's all computer graded. Like I mentioned, no grade. It's all either pass or you do not pass, and you will get your results immediately. The minute you finish from the exam, on the screen, they will tell you whether you passed or you failed. And then you would receive your grades officially by email. Those who do not pass the exam will get a detailed performance feedback. So those who pass, they're gonna say, congratulations, you passed the exam. Those who fail, they're gonna tell them their performance criteria, where they were weak, what areas they did not do well, and what areas they did well. I know some people are raising your questions. Let me give you an overall, and then I'm going to spend most of the time answering all the questions that you have. So we're going to be preparing you through the Schweser materials, Kaplan. So the content is going to come straight from the US. Everything that you need to prepare for this exam will be given to you. So you will attend the live classes or live online classes, and will give you access to Kaplan learning system, where they have previous exam questions. You have pre-recorded lectures of our instructors, and you have our local live instructors teaching you. We will follow the Schweser study plan and the resources. There will be academic support one-on-one if you have questions. And finally, you have the exam tips and strategy. You will learn them throughout the course, because not only the knowledge you need to know to pass those exams, but you have to know how to apply exam strategy. So what are the resources we'll give you? So you will have our US instructors recorded on demand. You can attend those lectures explaining the material. In addition, you have our live instructors from this part of the world that will be teaching you. You will have access to video lectures. We will record our lectures as well. You will have the study guides and how to get started. You have pass protection in case you meet that criteria and you don't make it. You can take the course again for free. We will give you practice questions from previous exam. So you have around 200 questions, 100 mock exams that you will practice on the Kaplan technology, sim technology, which is really, there's an AI. We will have hundreds of other questions given to you to practice, in addition to the textbook. And we have forums as well, where if you ask questions, people who are preparing, you can be in touch with other students on a global basis. And of course, it's led by our instructors, and you have feed on on various topics. Whenever, if somebody asks a question, you can see what are the answers, what the instructors have answered. So you have all the tools to prepare for those courses. Now, the course itself is not a long course. It's not a very difficult exam. It's made up of 7 lectures. Each lecture is made up of 3 hours, a total of 21 hours of lecturing time. These are classroom, you have to attend them. And then you have to put on your own around 100 hours on your own doing previous exam questions and homework assigned to you. So all in all, our next course is starting in February 27. By March 19, we'll be ending the course. You will have to take a bit of 2 to 3 weeks to review the materials, and you sit for the exam. Overall, you have to put between 100 and 120 hours between classroom and studying, solving previous exam questions, and homework. The last thing before I take your questions is that you shouldn't, the exam is straightforward. So you really need to stick to what we tell you and to go in depth to each line item as we guide you throughout the course. It's not good to go overboard on one of the topics because then you'll be misguiding yourself. You have to use all the tools that we give you. So the tools is the textbooks. You need to understand them, read them, but most importantly is the other tools that we give you, which is previous exam questions and mock exams. You need to practice this. Professional exams, you only learn through practice. You need to understand the framework. You learn it throughout the course, and you need to keep the momentum. So the training, it's not like today, I don't feel like studying. The minute we start, 7 lectures, you have to stay up to date with us to be able to finish so you don't fall behind. And of course, we need you to be engaged in questions and discussions throughout the course. This is in general what I wanted to mention. Now I'm going to take all your questions and I will respond to all your questions. So we already have some questions. The first question is, I have an accounting background, CPA. I do not have the CFA and do not have experience in corporate finance. Do I have the necessary skills to pass the exam? If you are an accountant, anybody can. You don't have to have a finance background. It teaches you the broader skills. So the answer is yes. You don't have to be a finance. You can be accounting. You can be other. You can be in risk management. You can be an auditor. You can be an internal auditor. You can be an executive, non-accounting background. But you need to start understanding. So the answer is yes. We will give you everything that you need to pass those exams. The question is how much it will cost. I don't have the information with me. It's not an expensive program because it depends on the location where you're taking the course. It depends whether you want to attend it in a live or you want to take a live online. So we have various packages with various costing. We have intensive classes in a live workshop style. We have longer classes, like I mentioned, 7 lectures. We have evening, we have online. So the best way is contact one of our offices and they will give you all the necessary information about the cost of the course, but it's not expensive. We have another question is, I am based outside of Lebanon. Can you send me the, yes, we are offering the course globally. So the textbooks will be sent wherever you are. The access, so we're global. We have offices in Europe. So the course, we've been offering it for a long time in Paris. This is not the first time we offered this course. In Paris, we've been offering it for the last 3 years. In the Middle East, we launched it this year. So in Canada, we launched it this year. So wherever you are, you will have access to the textbooks and to the instructions. So it's not restricted to one specific area because we have the live online course with the scheduled lectures that meets the criteria. This is exactly like the live class, but it's offered through virtually. What if I cannot attend the classes? Now, that's a good question. All the classes are pre-recorded. All the tools are given to you. So in case you're not able to attend the classes, you can watch the recording. You have access to our academic instructors, and you have all the tools. Preferably is you attend, but for any reason you don't attend, you will have all the tools and the recording and access to the instructors to be able to prepare for those exams. So these are questions. We have another one. So the question is, for how long will the ESG be offered? That's it. It's part of our program now. We launched it, so we're going to be offering it for the next 10, 15 years. Of course, the program, it's evolving. So like I said, this is a new course. So if I want to compare it to the CPA, when I prepared for my CPA exam, the materials were very thin. I had the financial accounting was around 40 or 50 pages. I'm talking 30 years ago. If you look at the financial accounting today, it's much more difficult. The world is becoming more complex. So now the exam is where it is, but 10 years down the road, it's probably going to be more complex, more diverse, more topics. So it is part of our curriculum, and we're going to be offering it throughout the coming years. So it's on our agenda. We're not going to be stop offering the course. It's not a one-time thing. So I am based out of, can you send me? Yes, we answered this question. Are we asked to finish each part of the curriculum before attending the live sessions? So we have a question here is, are we asked to finish each part of the curriculum before attending the to live sessions? No. You will start with the instructors. All what we'll ask you is, before you attend the lecture, just skim through it. We're not asking for advanced preparation and then you come to the live. So what we ask from you is that if you have the time, spend 1 hour reading the lecture before you attend the class. But you're not being asked for advanced preparation and then you come into the course. This is not required for the ESG. So you can immediately go into the live sessions. If you have 1 hour spare to read the lecture before, it will be helpful. Where will be the classes in Lebanon? The classes in Lebanon for this coming course is going to be live online. Our classes we are in the Cubic Center. In that area, we deliver our live classes. But for this launch, we're offering it as a live online. We've been seeing more and more demand for the live online, which is exactly like the live class. The only difference is that you don't have to travel to come to a live class. It's the same instructors, same number of lectures, same number of hours. It's just that you'll be at home and you'll be attending that class. What is the passing rate from attendees? Okay, passing rate, there's not yet statistics on it. Even the CFA Institute are not producing those passing rates. It varies from a term to term, but in general, I'm giving you in general, professional qualifications, the average passing rate is between 45 and 55 to 65%. In the ESG, it's around 71%, the passing rate. So this is the average passing rate for candidates who take the course and sit for the exam. It's around 71%. Okay, there's a question here. What is the difference between this certificate and the certificate in sustainability for finance? Well, it's a different qualification, first of all. You have the American system and you have the British system. The ACCA is like the accounting certification. So you will study the certificate in sustainability. It covers a part of the ESG, and it covers parts that is not covered by ESG. And the ESG covers parts that is not covered under the certificate of finance. The approach is different. One is geared towards the finance, one is geared towards accounting. And you will see most of other qualifications, they're going to start offering certificate in sustainability, ESG. CPA, they're going to start soon. IMA, they're updating their content. They're going to include that. Risk management, GARP, they're going to include that. Even now, we talk about digital marketing. They are discussing now how we include ESG in digital marketing. So you're going to find it all over. My advice is you go with reputable organization or professional bodies. They're both good. There's not one better than the other. Is the ESG curriculum 2024 available for purchase? Yes, it is available. 2024, it's already, the content is updated and it is available. You have to contact one of our offices and we'll give you all the information. So we have another question here. I have completed MBA Operations and Finance. Can I apply for ESG course? Yes, it's the perfect qualification for you because ESG covers operational aspects as well. So the combination between finance and operation and ESG is a perfect combination. What is the difference between, okay, where's the exam location? The exam locations is at Sylvan Parametric Testing Centers globally. So it is available across the whole world. In the Middle East, some of the Sylvan Parametric Testing Centers are the Middle East. So you have to register for the exam. It's a computer-based examination. You do it locally. You don't have to travel. The dates, I don't have it. But if you contact our office, they will give you the exam dates. I am beginner in English. Can I register? Is it difficult for me to assess and pass the exam? Okay, so there's a question mark is about the English language. Those exams are not English exams. What's important is that and there are multiple choice questions, so you don't have to write. What's important for you, for those who are worried about the English, is whether you read and understand. If you read something, you understand. This is the critical item. If you're able to read and understand, then it shouldn't be a problem. Even if your English is not your first language, as long as you can read and understand, you should not have a problem. What is the pass protection by Schweser? So the pass protection is that in case you practice the questions and you do the mock exams and you sit for the exam and you fail and you show a proof of failing, you can take again the course. Will open the extension for you again until you pass the exam. This is the pass protection. The cost, I don't have it. Like I said, we have different packages. You really need to contact our office. They will give you. Is the ESG curriculum 2020 is provided among the package? Yes. So the 2024, it is. The package is the latest package updated that includes 2024. I think we've answered all the questions. If fresh graduates can sit for the exam, even if you are in economics, yes, you can sit for the exam because now the economics as well and ESG, there are some common elements. So it doesn't matter what's your university degree and what's your major. Even fresh graduate can apply for this. It's a set of skills, irrespective if you come from accounting, finance, marketing. It is learning about the ESG. However, we are focused on the finance sector. It's a set of skills that you need to learn. So even if your major is not finance, you can still learn those skills. One of the things I want to mention is that maybe some of you are not aware about that when you go into the finance world, a lot of people background is not from the finance. So on the CFA exam, a lot of candidates come from engineering background. So really those type of, they come from engineering background because they're good in quantitative and in quants, and the CFA exam, there's a lot of quants on it. So your background is not really, it's what's your career path and what you want to do. This is really the decision whether to go for ESG or not is not based on your university degree, based on what career path you want to take. So if you're, I've just answered that. If you're an accounting and not a corporate finance and you have not worked in finance, yes, you do have the skills to pass those exams. Anybody can pass those exams. If you learn the content, you practice the question, irrespective, you can pass those exams. I think we've answered most of the questions. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions? So the contacts, Christine, can you write down the contacts of our office?
Absolutely. I'll write it on the chat.
Let me see if I have it here. No.
So for everybody, you can contact us at info@morganintl.com. I will type that on the chat right now. Or you can send a message through our website. Otherwise, it's info@morganintl.com.
There's a question is, do we have companies in Lebanon ESG compliant? Yes, we do have. And some of them, you don't become ESG compliant in one day. It's a process that you need to set in place. And there are several banks and several companies now are setting up the pace already signed with the USAID that they will be ESG compliant. So they've given the commitment and they're working with consultants now to become compliant. So it's usually people with ESG who come in and work with those companies to come them to make them compliant. And specifically in Lebanon, there's a fund from USAID. If you are compliant, USAID will give you some funding for it as well. Well, if there are no more questions, I want to thank everyone. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact our offices. We have offices in Saudi Arabia, we have in Dubai, we have in Jordan, we have in Egypt, we have in Canada, we have in Paris. So if you go on our website, wherever you are, reach out, ask any questions. You can reach us about as well on the info@morganintl.com, and over there you see all our offices and their contacts. Feel free to ask any questions. And I just want to wish you the best of luck for those who want to go in that career. It's very interesting, it's very trending, and the best of luck. Thank you very much for attending.